So because of the nature of my videos, there are rightly a lot of assumptions that are made about me and my family and our wealth. I totally get the curiosity, and I'd like to share with you all my own personal reflections about this topic, and I hope it answers some questions. The most common question I get is, how can I be rich like you? And in one of my recent posts, someone rightly answered, you should be asking how our parents got rich. I love that answer because it's absolutely true. Everything that I'm going to share here is exactly what my parents taught me about how to accumulate wealth. And to be honest, the practical advice is kind of the same, right? Like, find ways to increase your income, work your ass off, be so good at what you do that no one can say no to you. Spend less than what you make, save and invest the rest wisely. Never ever carry bad debt, by which I mean credit card debt. You always pay off your credit card bill in full. Educate yourself about stocks, money, investing, property, whatever it is that takes your fancy. We honestly have no excuse these days. There's access to so many free resources that we could learn from. Now, if it was that easy, everyone would be rich. So let's talk about the uncomfortable part, which is luck and privilege. The luck part is the part that no one wants to hear, because we want life to be fair. And when someone else seems to start out with more than you, the resentment sets in. But I'm going to tell you right now that life is inherently not fair. And the faster you can accept this, the easier your life and your mental load is going to be. Now, luck is just random chance, and I'm going to give you some examples from my own life. I was lucky enough to have immigrant grandparents who came to Singapore, which at that time was a small fishing village that no one knew about. I was lucky enough that Singapore became financially stable, economically stable. It's a safe country that didn't see any major wars in the 90s by the time that I was born. I was lucky enough that my grandparents really believed in the value of education, and even though they didn't have any money or much education themselves, they helped my parents get university degrees. I was lucky enough that in Singapore, they decided to teach English as a first language. I was lucky enough to be born Chinese, which is the majority race in Singapore, so I didn't face discrimination when I was growing up. All of this is completely random, and I did nothing to deserve this luck in my life. If any one of those things had been different, my parents' life and my life would probably look completely different. So what this luck gave me is privilege. I never had to worry about my next meal or my housing, and I could spend my time and my energy pursuing my education, my career, and my own personal wealth. My parents were very exposed to business and financial concepts, and they taught me and my siblings this from a very young age. I got the opportunity to also be educated and live outside of Singapore, so that taught me how to move in different social and cultural situations. And because of the schools I went to or the places that I lived in, I got to meet like-minded people who share the same work ethic and values and approach to money as I do. So this is the part that is hard to hear, right? The part that tells us that the playing field is inherently unequal. We've all started out with various levels of luck, which then gave us various levels of privilege. There is nothing that you or nor I nor anyone can do about this, short of blaming our ancestors and asking them to work harder or move to a different country. There is nothing we can do. So my final and real advice is, instead of being upset about privilege that others seem to have, you should get curious about your own luck and privilege. And I'm going to give you some ideas. So if you're watching this video, you probably have some kind of electronic device, you have internet connection, you have an electrical connection, you have some leisure time to watch this. You probably live in a country or a city that isn't in the middle of a war. You probably have access to a bank account. You probably speak some English. You might have a skin color or body type that is an advantage for you in your culture. You may have the freedom to vote and marry the person you love. You might be surrounded by people who give you unconditional love and support in ways that aren't just financial. So in other words, you also have luck, and that there are people out there who would do anything to have even a fraction of the luck and privilege that you have. So the real question is, what will you do with the luck that you've been given? And one day, what will your grandchildren say about the privilege you've given them? So let me know in the comments below what you think. Let's try to be kind to each other and not start a war. I know this is a difficult topic for most people, but I am interested in hearing your thoughts.